Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about psychic pizza deliverers go to the ghost town.
Just rolls off the tongue.
It rolls off the tongue. This is designed by Hayato Kisagari, and it is published by AllPlay, formerly known as BoardGameTables.com.
All right, you guys, this is a real problem that a lot of people are having lately.
All the time.
When you probably can relate to this. And when you're trying to deliver a pizza,
Yeah.
and ghosts are in your way.
Ghosts. I'm just trying to deliver a pizza, ghosts.
Just let me through.
Let me through.
What's the deal? This is exactly the problem they're tackling here in
The very relatable problem.
In Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. What's happening is you are basically having one player who acts as the mayor of the ghost town. They are not really playing, they're simply orchestrating the whole thing, kind of like a game master. They're telling us all the information that we didn't know as we're traveling. We as players, what we are doing is we are kind of doing this hidden movement thing where we are moving around on the grid. We don't really know where we are, what's around us. The mayor is going to be filling us in with that information as we play. Ultimately, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a pizza place and then take the pizza to the house that wants it. So that's kind of what we're doing in this game. Lots of spooky kind of vibes going on. Ghosts are going to block your way, and you have to fight them. There's going to be the edge of the map, the edge of the city border, if you will, along with some fences, things like that. I'm going to try to give you a quick overview of how to play. It's going to be a little challenging just because of the nature of the mayor role versus the player role, but I'll do my best. All right, here is the inside of the box, which acts as the shield for the mayor. The mayor is going to take one of these cards, based off the number of players and how hard they want to make the game, and they're going to set it up accordingly. So here's the one that we chose. We've got everything set up exactly how it is on this card. Also, the instructions of what to do are also on the inside box over there as well. So what's going to happen is, players on their turn, they're going to move around this board. They're going to declare whether they're moving north, south, east, or west. And then we are going to move their pawns on the inside of our board. And we're going to tell them what happens when they move. If they move onto a certain object, or maybe perhaps they run into a wall, or they can't move because there's a ghost in their way. All those kinds of things. And on top of that, there's also these kind of player aids that tells you exactly what to do if you move onto a certain spot with those particular items. So these are all the kind of cheat sheets the mayors are going to be able to use in order to help them navigate through the board. So here is the player board. So basically, this is where we're going to declare our actions. So we're going to say from here, hey, we're going to try to move east. And maybe the mayor says, yep, that's good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line there and move our pawn there. They're also, at that point, going to tell us if there's any fences or borders of the map to our immediate north, south, east, or west. So they might say, you have a fence or a border to your east, in which case we'd mark that on our board. We don't know whether it's a fence or a border, but we know there's something stopping us from moving. And they might also tell us there is a fence to your south as well. And then the mayor is going to tell us, with the 8 spots surrounding our board, where we're currently at on the board, they're going to tell us if there's empty pizza places, houses, or ghosts. But they are not going to tell us where they are. So from that location, they might say something like, you are currently surrounded by 1 ghost and 1 pizza place and no houses. So then you might notate some things on your board. Okay, there's a potential for a pizza place over here. There's a potential for a house over here, or whatever the case is, and you're going to notate that on your board. The more you move around and the more you bump into things, you're going to find out about the board. And eventually, hopefully, you're going to find a pizza place, and you're going to walk onto that pizza place and pick up one of those pizzas. They're going to come in either pepperoni, cheese, or jalapeno pizzas. And then, once you have it picked up, now your goal is to find the house that matches that type of pizza. There's going to be a cheese pizza, a jalapeno pizza, and a pepperoni pizza house that wants those orders. So there's a little bit of a pick-up and delivery mechanism as well within this hidden mystery movement. If you come across a ghost, they do block your path. You can choose to attack them if you want to. If you attack them and you successfully figure out where they are, then you get to draw one of these cards. These are basically the psychic cards. They're going to give you all kinds of cool special abilities. Like this particular one says, move and then receive exact locations for your surrounding report. So for instance, you might hear a ghost is directly to your northeast. There's a house to your south. Instead of getting the general information of somewhere surrounding you, there's some information. Or maybe there's cards that give you, tells you what your nearest pizza place is to the north. Or maybe there's cards that say you can move diagonally. Whatever the case is, there's some really cool abilities in this psychic deck. However, the psychic deck is your complete turn. So if you use a psychic card, you do whatever it says, That does replace your turn unless the card says otherwise. The 3 actions that a player can take is they can either move, they can attack a ghost, or attempt to attack a ghost, or play a psychic card. The player is going to keep on taking turns back and forth until one player is able to pick up a pizza and deliver it to the correct house. Once that has happened, they are declared the winner.
So one of the games that we got of this, we let our 10-year-old be the mayor, and oh my gosh.
The power went to her head.
Oh my gosh. She had so much fun when she understood what she was doing. She had so much fun. It was just silly. But I think that's kind of what happens in the parent-child dynamic. Like, we dictate a lot of what happens in her life. But now, in this game, she knew stuff that we didn't know. And so whenever we'd want to move to a certain place, she'd just be behind this board giggling because she knew what was happening. She knew what was around. She knew if we were close to each other or not close to each other. She loved it. Absolutely loved it. She had so much fun. And then she was like, let's do it again. And I'm going to be the mayor. Like, this is what she was doing. This is what she was called to do in her life, was be the mayor of Ghost Town. But it was so much fun.
I really enjoyed the tension that you, as the player, when you are moving into a new spot and you don't know what you're coming up against. You might have some ideas based off of some previous information that you got, but I liked having, that tension where you show up to a new spot and then it's like, you hit a wall, or you hit a ghost, or, oh, now you somewhere around you is a pizza place. Like, oh, yes, I'm getting close, I love that little bit of tension as the reveal happens. It's a very fun moment.
It's also fun to know that the other players are on the board. You don't even know where they are, but you can kind of guess where they are if you just play the normal play by looking at their boards and figuring out what they're close to and what you're close to, and if you're moving in a certain direction, if they're moving in a certain direction. You can kind of gather information based off of their boards, but only if you're really good at spatial reasoning and stuff like that. I'm not, but that's fine because it still works. I mean, it's only a 7x7 grid. You can only move so much, but it's just so fun to see, to know that all these pieces are in the board and you don't know how they're going to interact with each other. You don't know what's happening, but you know that players on the board searching for a pizza place, just like you're searching for the pizza place, but you want to get to that pizza place first, or you want to deliver first and you're fighting them, but you don't know where they are. It's a good time.
I think the psychic cards that you got were a really great way of giving some additional information or different additional ways to play the game. So first of all, it encouraged you to fight the ghosts. You could just try to avoid them, treat them as a barrier, but the ability to fight these ghosts gave you those cards, so you wanted them. And then when you played them, they would do things like give you additional information about where your next objective was, whether it was the pizza or the house that you're delivering to, or maybe give you additional ways to move. Maybe you can move diagonally until you hit a fence or something like that. Each one of the psychic cards give you additional ways that you could interact with the board and learn new information. I thought that was a really great design choice. Also, there's a ton of ways to play this game. The base game by itself is a blast, but if you're wanting a little bit more, there is multiple cards that you can use for each player count, and then there's challenge cards that are more difficult for each player count as well. And then on top of that, there's a different kind of variant modules that you can add in and change. So for one thing, the mayor, they aren't really a playing player, right? They're just kind of dictating what's happening with us. There's a variant where the mayor actually gets a chance to be the winner. There's a turn countdown, and if a certain amount of turns happens, the mayor is going to win. They can't necessarily dictate. They can't really do anything per se, but it gives them a motivation to want to be in that role. It's if there's a kid who wants to have a chance of winning and they can't win as the mayor, they maybe want to play as the mayor for that reason. Also, there could be an opportunity where maybe you're just kind of stuck in a loop and you're not really finding what you need to do and you're just kind of endlessly wandering around the board. Having a turn track like that puts a finite number of turns on the game, so you're forced to be aggressive with your turns and make some movements. There's other cool variants, like there's a cat and a pig little token that you can put on the board, and if you ever move on to them, the mayor tells you by either oinking or meowing, and then if another player at the board also moves on to that same spot, there's only one of that spot on the board. That means you know exactly where that is, and you can correspond with your map versus their map, and you can actually get a lot of information that way. So there's even more variants that you can add in and change the gameplay up. There's a lot of gameplay out of this box. Now, one thing I do want to point out is there's these portals. These portals were a way that if you landed on them, you would immediately be transported to a different spot of the map. The problem with that was kind of hidden movement where you don't really know where you're going. You don't really know what's ahead of you. you've maybe spent a little bit of time trying to figure out the map, and once you've got a little bit of the map figured out, and you're trying to kind of search for what you need to, and you stumble onto a portal, it literally just takes you out of wherever you were and puts you somewhere else. You have to kind of start all over again figuring out where you were. If you go into a portal and you're just knocked across the board, but your opponents aren't, they're going to have much more information than you. Now, eventually you can try to move around and reconcile where you are and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of moves, potentially.
But at the end of the day, it's just still that 7x7 grid. So even if you were moved, there's only so many options. Like, you don't know. Yes, you don't know. But after a couple of moves and figuring out what other people have played, you can kind of figure out where you are because it is just that 7x7 grid. But overall, this game, when you win, you feel so amazing. You're like, yes, I did it. I beat you. I beat the ghost. I beat the mayor. I am awesome. And if you lose because it's so silly and not chaotic isn't the right word, but it's just so silly and you don't know what's happening, you don't feel bad if you lose either. You know, if you figured something out, then you still feel great. But this game, we can't keep all the games we talk about. We just don't have the space for them. Our space is very finite. But this definitely fills a hole in our collection, and I am going to make space for it.
Yeah, that
just
is...
so you know, I'm making space for
No,
this.
I agree. This is extremely unique. This is not like anything else we have. Even other hidden movement games, this is just very unique in that world.
Yeah.
We like spooky games. We don't like scary games. But around the Halloween time, we love playing a family game that's got some like little spooky elements to it. And this fit the bill perfectly. It had that spookiness to it, but it wasn't scary in any way. It had the hidden movement with that silly theme. The title by itself is just super hilarious and evocative.
Yeah.
This was a surprise hit for us. We didn't really know what to expect. But man, super, super interesting.
Yeah.
If anything we said sounds interesting, I'd check this one out for sure.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.